if you study hard enough and you talk to the right people, you can learn how to do this yourself. So I did start my own press. It's called Tulsa Whimsy Press. That it's based on my former company that I owned. But I went ahead and wrote the stories, and then I hired the illustrators, and then I hired the editor, and then I knew I can do this.
4 books in 6 years. So yes, you can do it. No, it's not too late. You can start.
Welcome to Sharing Passion and Purpose. I'm your host, Nancy Moore, and every week I bring you stories and conversations to help you build a passionate and purpose-filled life, one that's profitable and aligned with who you are. Let's get started.
Hi, everybody. We are live from my podcast studio. And if you are viewing this, sitting next to me is Annette Murray. Welcome, Annette.
Hi, Nancy. It's great to be back.
Yes. So, Annette, I'm grateful that you are back, that we are talking about another book you have written. Annette has been on the podcast before for a book she wrote about Route 66, and now she has written another book. Plus, she has 2 others she just showed me that are darling, so I can't wait to talk to her about all of this. But let me tell you a little about Annette. She is an author, a speaker, an educator, a Route 66 enthusiast, and her love for Oklahoma history and America's most famous highway has inspired her to bring fascinating stories to life for readers of all ages. Her newest book, Meet Cyrus Avery, father of Route 66, the dreamer who brought the world to his town, introduces readers to the visionary Tulsa entrepreneur known as the father of Route 66 and the lasting impact he has made truly on travel, on America, on tourism. And what I love about Annette, we're going to talk about a lot of different things in a short amount of time, but what I love is for her, she started later in life. She started writing later in life. And I actually got to know her when we were working at a company together, and she was such a joy to work with. And so I've known her for several years, and it is a treat to have you back on. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so great to be here.
Good, good. So the first question that I have for you is just about starting something. So there are so many people that have a book idea inside them, and truly the people that I'm talking to, the people that I'm coaching, sometimes think it's too late. They've missed their opportunity. And so I would love for you to speak to that.
Sure. I think all of us in even our younger years, we all can be writers. You know, a 4-year-old can write a picture story. 14-year-old, they're learning the skill levels. High school, college, it's mandatory you write. But then as you become an adult and you find out what your interests are, just start putting down your thoughts. Don't think about technical part. Just enjoy it. Write that story. And then if you do have an interest in publishing or presenting it to the world, join a writing group. There's in every city, there are local writers. I happen to be in Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. It's an international group. We meet monthly. I'm now in my 6th year of being in that group. I was there this week, and I never get tired of going. And I learn something new every time I go.
Okay. I love that. And I tell people, join a group, or I'll say community, where you feel like you have a place where you can give ideas, where you can get ideas, because that's where kind of the inspiration comes from. Sometimes you can talk to somebody if you've had a hard week and say, this has been hard. This is why, and let them, kind of cheer you on, and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Yes, the meeting I was attending this week, we all write different things, young YA, novels, romance, whatever. But we all have read at one time, we had critiqued each other's work. Like years ago, one of my stories is 6 years old. One of these gals wrote a YA that was, I know I commented on her page about how she writes. But yes, just don't be afraid.
Okay.
It's not going to be the end of the world if someone gives you comments
that
you don't think are appropriate or whatever. But that's why we're there.
Yeah. Okay. I love that.
Before we get back to the show, I want to take a minute to thank today's sponsors. Today's show is brought to you by 5 Star Painting of Tulsa. They painted the exterior of my home, and I could not be happier. They're really my go-to painting company because they're engaged in every step of the process, from the paint consultation to the final follow-up, and they are meticulous with every detail, so you don't have to be. They're family-owned, insured, and members of the Tulsa Home Builders Association, and they combine top high-quality work with high-quality products. So when you have a painting project in the Tulsa area, 5 Star Painting is the one to call, and estimates are always free. Find them at 5starpainting.com/Tulsa. Connect with them today, and you will be glad you did.
Okay. So, before we get into this, because I want to show you it, the illustrations are darling. And I know the content is, from you and your heart, but what is it about Route 66 that has that allure for you?
It is like a linear classroom. I'm going to borrow that term from Michael Wallace.
Okay.
He calls the route a linear classroom. Every mile you go, you're going to learn something. You're going to meet new people. You're going to learn about the world because you have international people traveling with you when you're there. But, just for example, I was teaching Cyrus Avery to 3rd graders when I taught Tulsa history. I didn't know who he was. And then I, kept that idea in my mind. Well, maybe I need to write a book about him. That was 15 years ago. Then COVID came. I started to write other stories, but then I pulled this one out. And I'm just so happy that I took time to, it has a lot of research material for children. This is for ages 8 to 12. But the main thing is you just learn on the route. I'm just back from Santa Fe. I still stop and get out at Route 66. Landmarks, museums, things like that. I've done the entire route 3 times now, but I never stop wanting to get out and meet people.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's so cool. So my husband recently mentioned we should do Route 66, and right now, if you don't know, it is the centennial, it is the 100-year anniversary of Route 66. And so, of course, Route 66 travels through Tulsa, and we have had a parade. We have some other great things coming up. And so that's why I thought it's really right now, it's anytime, travel in Route 66.
In 2026, you are going to see dozens of communities celebrating at different times.
Yeah.
I'll be attending a very fun event in October in Springfield, Illinois. It's called Miles of Possibility, and it's people who have been meeting for 45 years to how are we going to make the route better? And people gather in a city along Route 66. But Tulsa is the capital of the route. We've been identified as the city with the biggest presence of welcoming people.
Oh,
isn't that fun?
Yes, I love that.
And you get out on our streets and you see it.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So tell me more about what it was about Cyrus Avery, because, you think, can I make a difference? Or, sometimes people think, can I personally make a difference? I'm just one person. Well, Cyrus Avery was one person. And, thinking about what he did that has connected, when the linear highway that has connected time, and connected people together.
Right.
It's neat that you are going from this perspective for me, though. And so you have written a book about Route 66. But this is specifically about Cyrus Avery. So tell us a little bit more about why you thought it was important to write about Cyrus Avery.
Right. Cyrus Avery is a hidden hero. Those are terms that librarians use for teaching children, like, oh, here's somebody we don't know anything about. But wow, they created bunk beds. Or wow, he created bubble gum. Things like that.
Yeah.
Things that have improved our world. But I think not only was he a hidden hero, and he did have that skill of connecting roads that join, he also, his intent was to take travelers safely across the country. He had no idea that cities would start bringing their business there and people would move there. And, that wasn't on his radar. He just his job was to, from the national government, take our drivers safely from the east to the west. But look what's happened. These roads were built, and then people came by the hundreds, and they came from around the world. But they came because they wanted to see what is going on in Southwest United States, because they hadn't been there. Our general population was on the East Coast.
Yes.
And so, wow, when the route opened, everyone started to know him as Mr. Father of the Route. And then all of a sudden, these fun places were developed so that travelers could stop and rest. They could learn about stars. They could enjoy robots. There's just so many fun elements to Route 66. And then I love that as an educator, I really wanted this book to be used as research because, 6 and 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they're already learning research in their classroom. So I have a timeline. I have influencers. I have Michael Wallace in the book.
Yes.
He's our Tulsan, who's the historian, and he has written the major book of the route history. And he has a new version out. It's 100 years now. He had the 75th anniversary, and 25 years later, today, he just launched this at our car caravan.
Okay. Wow.
So that's really why I just wanted the world to know, yes, he could join the roads and make one long highway that was fun, but he created just magic along the road for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love for you to show the other Route 66 book.
This is the first one I was making. Because I took writing classes, but I had traveled the route as a child and only in Oklahoma and Texas, but I knew there was more. And I knew that people who travel often, they go back to the same places. So I was writing the ABCs for all 8 states of the route. And then I found my illustrator, and she had just finished the passport. She illustrated the 8-state passport. So many of her drawings are here. And she's the one that really helped in, this book wouldn't be what it is without her art. Her illustrations are just fabulous.
Yes.
So, but this is very popular. I read this to ages, I say 3 to 93, because it has something for all ages.
Yeah.
Children can learn vocabulary. Adults can see where they used to go on their family trips. There's Cyrus Avery. I do like to mention him as our father of the route.
Yes. So for those listening and not viewing this on YouTube or somewhere else, this book is called ABC, What Do You See? Rolling Along Route 66. And so I will link all of this, but the illustrations are just darling. I would love for you just to share briefly your other 2 books. And I want to talk about the publishing journey for you, because people who are thinking about writing and do start out writing, publishing journey, I'll just say the publishing journey is not easy.
Right.
And so I want you to share your books, and then we're going to talk a little about your publishing journey.
Great. Well, in addition to the Cyrus Avery and Route 66, I always had a little file of stories I wanted to tell. And then I realized, if you study hard enough and you talk to the right people, you can learn how to do this yourself. So I did start my own press. It's called Tulsa Whimsy Press. That it's based on my former company that I owned. But I went ahead and wrote the stories, and then I hired the illustrators, and then I hired the editor, and then I knew I can do this. I can learn to format and load them up to the websites where they get published. So the first one I'll talk about is Cecil's New Tricks. He's a dog who lives in Paris at a dog park, and I wanted to have both books are social emotional. Learning based, and they help children learn how to get along. Like, what do you do when bullies come to the park? Cecil happens to be a little dog that doesn't have a lot of the right words don't come to him to defend himself. So they get together on the backside and they say, "Hey, try this. This is what I do when I feel like I want to be brave." And so that's why I just love that little story. He ends up having a tremendous relationship with the bullies. First he's living in a bakery, and they live in a flower shop in Paris, and they begin to go back and forth and spend the weekends with each other.
Oh, I love it.
I do happen to love Paris. This has nothing to do with my trips I just love Paris. I love the art and the dogs that you see.
Yes.
The second book is based on a child who loves to hip hop dance. But he's really terrified when he has to go on a stage. And he did enter a contest, and he's but he had his coach say, if we can do this, we're going to learn how to breathe right when you get scared or when you get nervous. So, the dancing is outrageously, he's talented. He can do all the moves. He knows every bit of it. And he just stops and breathes. And he does it out loud.
Annette, that's what adults need to.
I know. I love it.
Yeah.
And then even at the end, I have a little glossary that is how to do these dances, because they are very specific.
Oh, wow.
And I have been to hip hop classes, so I know.
Oh,
I know that they're
gosh.
accurate, and I really liked the art is very different in these two books. And I vet my illustrators. I interview them by Zoom, and I talk about what's the goal, what's my end goal, and they'll we work together.
Mhm.
It's so fun.
Yeah. Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah.
I love it. So here it's been 4 books in 6 years.
6 years.
In 6 years. So yes, you can do it. No, it's not too late. You can start. But tell people a little or share a little about your publishing journey,
Sure.
because I think it's something that more and more people are moving to. And I don't know if our listeners are educated on this.
Sure. Well, there is a learning curve after you've written the story and you know how to format it and you get it in the right places. You want people to see your book and learn about it and know where it's for sale. So the marketing aspect is what I was not trained in, but I took video, I took Zoom classes. I've interviewed people. I'm in these groups. So we all talk together about how did you do that? Where'd you get your business cards made? How do you upload to YouTube? Things like that. So you just network, and that's what it takes. And it doesn't matter how old you are. I have 30-year-olds who work on the backside of my books and help me learn. I still am on. I have sessions once a month to help me upgrade my social media and learn what I'm doing. But yes, it's a little bit daunting at first, but and there's some expenses that you have to incur if you're going to learn and do it correctly.
So, okay. Yeah. I love, because these are so well done. So the self-publishing process doesn't have to be so daunting. It especially when you get in a group that can be supportive. So look for those groups. Annette mentioned the children's book
Society of Children's Book Writers.
Thank you.
Yes.
Here in Tulsa. But if you are outside of Tulsa, look for that, because she said it's a national/international group. So look for that.
Today's show is brought to you by Colonial Title. Colonial Title has been serving the Oklahoma real estate industry since 2004, with services including title, consulting, and legal, and 2 convenient locations, one in Tulsa and one in Owasso. So if you're buying a new home or refinancing and you're closing anywhere in the Tulsa or Owasso area, Colonial Title is the one to call. Find them today at colonialtitle.com or on Instagram at Colonial Title. Colonial Title, where the sky's the limit.
So let's talk about what is next for you.
Well, as I learned from marketing teams that advised me about selling the books, they suggested get something in addition to your stories. Can you talk to a crowd? Yes, I was an educator. That's no-brainer for me. I enjoy that. So I am developing a little platform where I speak to all ages. I'm really enjoying the adult level for the Route 66. And so I have some new content that I'm putting out there. I study women a lot who influenced Route 66, many from the past who are deceased. But, there's still women out here in my community, Mary Beth Babcock, Kathy Taylor. We have these leaders and influencers surrounding us. It's just time to go and interview them. So I've done about 80 presentations in the past year, mostly local, but I do get invited sometimes to go out of state. And I just was in Santa Fe. The Harvey Girls are one of my main interests. They are a team of women who in the 20s, 30s, and 40s assisted the entertainment and hospitality on the railway system. But here came Route 66 in tandem with the rails. So the people driving would drive their cars to the depots and watch all this entertainment, hospitality at the depots. and then the hotels that were developing. So there's a group of women called the couriers, and they were part of the Harvey Company, but they drove people out into the reservations to meet the Native Americans and see their art. And that's how their the silver, the turquoise, the woven rugs, the clothing, beaded things. That's how we got them into our homes. From traveling on Route 66 to the depots through the couriers. And anyway, it's a very cool network, and I knew nothing about it until about 2 years ago. And it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. So aside from Tulsa and maybe Santa Fe, because it sounds like you go to Santa Fe, if you could spend a little more time and research Route 66, or just spend time and see what is there, where would you go?
Well, I love the far western part. And like I said, I've driven the entire route, but there were floods that stopped me outside of San Bernardino, California. And then there were fires when I wanted to go into LA and Pasadena. That's when I was traveling at that time. So I need to spend more time in the West. I want to know more about their communities.
Mm-hmm. So then also, I'm thinking parents who have kids, and you've talked about the age range for kids. It truly brings it to life in the book, but being able to visit things here along our Route 66, if you are here locally in Tulsa, I think is awesome. And they have done such a good job. Have you actually done the part that's This Land Is Your Land?
Yes, the musical.
So there's a bridge in Tulsa, and if you drive 35 over the bridge, there are little ridges in the bridge, and it plays This Land Is Your Land. And it is super cool. And so Tulsa, just in preparation for all that's coming up, has really done some beautiful sculptures, some cool features, that kind of thing. But what would you point to parents who are trying to get kids interested in history in Route 66? What would you kind of point out to them in this Tulsa area?
Oh, I think our Tulsa area is loaded. I would start in the far eastern end of the city with the Bingo Circle Drive. And we welcome people with our big Route 66 installation. Stop at the Decapolis Museum and Ice Cream Shop. He has 2 shops now, one out east and one on the 11th. But, stop in at there's a donut shop up in the east. Big Babies is a Route 66 business. And then you get closer down towards Utica. We have where Hillcrest Hospital is. You have the Ike's Chili. You have big Buck Adams Cowboy. It's an old gas station that has the Giants there. We are now the land of the Giants. We have 5 Giants right in a 2-mile stretch of Tulsa. And then Mary Beth Babcock has built really a little community. She has a new center called 66 Collective. There's like 5 little candle shop, vintage clothing, high-end Western wear that is to die for. It's right out of Nashville. And then she has the Meadow Gold Mac across the street. Don't miss that. That's a vintage mall that has fun things for kids and adults. Mm-hmm. And then go on downtown and go across the river to Ollie's, the restaurant that was there in Sapulpa. Sapulpa's shoot is open every month of the year, but it's extremely fun at Christmas. It's they've remodeled their downtown to accommodate more tourists for their route, but don't forget all of those. And then you go Bristow. We have a new installation in Wellston called the Pinpoint. It's the midway point between the east and west of Oklahoma. That's really beautiful at night. In Stroud, we have the Skyline Hotel, new neons. We have neons everywhere. Our state really worked 10 years in advance, and especially 5 years in advance with Reese Martin's leadership. He acquired many grants for our state to have enhanced and renewed neons, because neons were the way people knew where to go.
Oh,
it brought people to their businesses.
Yeah. Okay, that's so cool. You were mentioning things that brought just a flood of memories. Me taking my kids to Ollie's when they were younger, and then we've been to the shoot, a couple
Yes.
of times. And so, and I feel like it's a new tradition for us to go and do that. And
Yeah.
so, but you mentioned places that I hadn't been yet. So,
Yeah.
and they're right here. They're right here
Yes.
local.
Right.
So, yeah, that's great. Well, it is such a pleasure talking to you because you are so full of ideas, full of just really interesting things. Like you're always on the go, doing something really cool in some cool place. And so I'm glad people know who you are, what you're doing, the books that you have. I will share those on social media too.
Great.
But in wrapping up, my question that I like to ask at the end is just, what are you passionate about right now?
Oh, I really want to tell people that I love learning about the people of the route. I am just very passionate about this group of women who are couriers. I always felt like the Harvey girls, they were extremely important. There were over 15,000 of them from the Chicago area to the LA in the Harvey hotels. And the couriers had to go, they had to have training, they had to have a degree to teach people about our southwestern states as they took their tours out. So I want to know more about them. I can't wait. And they dressed extremely well. They wore the native turquoise, the silver, the leather, the jodhpurs, the coats. They were, they should be in a fashion magazine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were out just extremely polished on the
Yes.
route. Yeah.
Is there a book coming? Are you doing a little research?
Oh, I'm doing a lot of research.
Okay.
But no book yet. But I
Yes.
love to add them. They're not in my talks yet because I have to
Do some research.
I have to do more research.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. And keep in mind, I've been doing a lot of talking to people about AI, and Annette has written all of her books and they've been illustrated before AI.
Right.
Without AI.
Right.
And so that is maybe something that we need to talk about in the future about how that is maybe going to influence you coming up, because that's also just one of those hot topics right
Yes.
now. Do you?
Yes. I'm not afraid. I love ChatGPT.
Okay.
I will get some quick facts on there for if I'm double checking things from my original research. I like to use ChatGPT. It's extremely valuable, but we do have concerns in our writing world. ChatGPT can write a story for us.
Mm-hmm.
It can write an essay for you. It can write your professional speech that you're going to give. But you need to check. And I have several friends who are college professors, and it's invading that world in a really big way.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say about it.
Yep. No, I agree. Because just still teaching at Tulsa Community College, I see it, and it's not going away. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
It's definitely the hot topic right
Right.
now. Well, thank you so much for your
Thank
time. This
you.
has been so fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, you guys. And check her out, AnnetteMurray.com online, and then I will link all of her socials so you can have those too.
Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. If this episode encouraged you, would you do 2 quick things? They would mean the world to me. Subscribe so you never miss an episode, and come join our free online community. It's an amazing group of women pursuing their passion and purpose and holding each other accountable. We would love to have you. The link is in the description. Until next time, lead with passion and grow with purpose.